Welcome everybody to another Suidlanders chat between me, Marius Greyling, and Simon Roche. And yeah, we've got two great topics for tonight. Russia intel on Hillary Clinton and the USA deploys nukes in the UK. Hi, Simon.
How's it, Marius? Yeah, I'm well, thanks. I'm starving hungry, and I'm about to go to supper. The way one of the guys who funded this trip, I ran out of money when we extended the tour, is a South African with business interests in Russia, so he knows what things cost. And he said to me the other day, "I don't understand how you get so much done with so little money." One of the things that I do is I'll eat in the USA for 3 weeks in 2023. Not 2 weeks full. I remember counting the days. It was maybe 2.5 weeks. I ate only tuna from the can and cashew nuts, and I'm still alive. You know.
Yeah.
And for weeks, yeah, I mean more than like a month and a half. I ate practically only black bread and salad and herring, little pieces of herring fish. So I'm at that point in the tour where I've had enough. It's been almost 12 weeks, so a very long time. And I've got a little bit of money left over. I know what it's going to cost me to finish the next 5 days. And I'm fed up with herring and black bread and bending over backwards to save money.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to, there's a spot just about 100 yards away from the hotel, which is quite a nice restaurant. It's quite simple. It's like canteen style, but done nicely, you know?
Yeah.
You take a serving tray and you plonk it on the front of the counter and you push it along and you say, "Oh, I'll have that much salad and please can I have 3 pieces of chicken," or whatever the case may be. And it's obviously a hell of a lot more expensive than eating black bread and herring, but it's very lekker and I don't care anymore. And that's where I'm going after this Suidlanders chat. And yeah, I'm looking forward, very, very much forward to it.
Yeah.
But Marius, just to get on with things, yesterday being today's Thursday the 24th, am I correct?
Yeah.
Yesterday, Wednesday the 23rd, Tulsi Gabbard, Donald Trump's director of national intelligence, Hawaiian woman. You can see it, very, very good looking girl, but you can tell she's not entirely from northern Germany or wherever. She's a Hawaiian, part Hawaiian. Director of National Intelligence released some US intel files, and they've got the internet in an absolute uproar of laughter and giggling and tittering and what have you, because they totally capsize the narrative that the Democrats sold to the world in 2000 and what would it be, 2015, 16, that period when Hillary Clinton was running against Donald Trump, and she was Barack Obama's Secretary of State, which means foreign minister. I'll just start reading. I mean, it's too precious for words. And I say this as somebody who's not pro-Republican. I absolutely hate them with the passion of 1,000 burning suns. As of September 2016, this is now Tulsi Gabbard releases these US intelligence files pertaining to Russian intelligence files. So this is, in simple terms, the CIA saying that's what the KGB is thinking.
Yeah.
So counterintelligence, whatever. And obviously it's not the KGB anymore, it's the SVR. But I'm just trying to put it in stereotypical terms so that people can follow the conversation. So this is American intelligence making very formal official analyses of intelligence that they know the Russians to possess pertaining to Hillary Clinton. Okay, so as of September 2016, the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, SVR, had Democratic National Committee, that's the steering, the top body of the Democrats, the Democratic Party in the USA, information that President Obama and party leaders found the state of Secretary Clinton's health to be extraordinarily alarming. So Obama and co, the Russians have discovered, and the Americans have discovered that the Russians have discovered, that Secretary Clinton's health is extraordinarily alarming, and felt it could have serious negative impacts on her election prospects. Her health information was being kept in strictest secrecy, and even close advisors were not being fully informed. The SVR possessed DNC communications, Democratic National Committee communications, that Clinton was suffering from intensified psycho-emotional problems, including uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness. Clinton was placed on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers, underlined in bold type. So who knows what she was taking, and probably still is. And while afraid of losing, she remained obsessed with a thirst for power. The SVR also had information that Clinton suffered from type 2 diabetes, ischemic heart disease, deep vein thrombosis, and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Heavens above, she's been on her last legs for 10 years. The SVR possessed a campaign email discussing a plan approved by Secretary Clinton to link Putin and Russian hackers to candidate Trump in order to distract the American public from the Clinton email server scandal. You'll recall that at the time there was a great big scandal over the fact that she had used her email server, we call it Gmail or Hotmail or whatever, her home email account, obviously going through that private server, privately owned server, rather than her official account going through the government servers, much more secure, etc., etc., etc. The Russian Federal Security Service in August, this is 2016, had details of secret meetings with multiple named, listen to how rough this is, U.S. religious organization in which U.S. State Department representatives offered. So she's the bigwig at the State Department. It's not she and the DNC going to them, or she and the Obama White House. It's her as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, obviously getting her team around her together and saying to them, listen, go to the churches and, see what you can't offer them to support us, in which U.S. State Department representatives offered in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton, all these televangelists, significant increases in financing from department funds. And this is just indicative. I mean, this is the USA through and through. The Foreign Affairs Department donating money to the churches, as they use the Department of Housing to subsidize the Pentagon, because the Pentagon budgets are so atrociously high that if they, passed a $1.5 trillion budget, there would be a rebellion among U.S. taxpayers. So they funnel money to the Pentagon through the Department of Housing and Education and so on, notoriously so. And the patronage of state. So the patronage comes from the root for the word father. So we'll be your patron, your big, strong protector in dealing with post-Soviet countries. And this was a big thing for a long time in the USA. And you might recall, Marius, some years ago, Russia passing laws against outside Christian institutions coming into Russia to evangelize or proselytize Russians away from the Orthodox faith. And there was a huge kickback. I know even in South Africa, or pushback, even in South Africa, this was said to me by one person in particular, that Vladimir Putin is the Antichrist because he hates Jesus Christ because he kicked all the churches out. And I had to explain to this guy that we in the West are very sanctimonious, extremely, obsessively self-righteous about our faith. We say we're not godless people, and we don't believe in pantheons of gods like the the Hindus do, and we don't believe in ringing up our ancestors for advice like the Africans do. Animism and atavism are the correct words for that type of religion. And in 1054, in the Great Schism, we in the West went Roman Catholic because the Russians worshipped icons, pictures. So again, it just shows you how perfect we are. And then in the beginning in the 15th, but let's say in the 16th century and 17th centuries, in 17th century, we were again perfect. We were the good guys because we split from Rome. That old Pope, he's a bad guy. And then when there were persecutions, we jumped on a boat and we sailed to South Africa. It just shows you I'm always right. Mr. Protestant, I can do no wrong. Everybody else is going to hell, but not me. Whereas the Russian Orthodox would say, for instance, yes, but you say, for instance, this is just a for instance. I don't want to get bogged down in this argument. I want to use a for instance to create a salient principle in the minds of thoughtful people. You would never step foot, you would never darken the doorway of an Orthodox church because there are icons in there. But when your sister's child is baptized or your cousin gets married in a church that endorses the anus as a sexual organ, you'll go in there. Explain that to us. This is how unbelievably judgmental we are. So what Vladimir Putin was doing, in fact, was saying, listen, this has become an absolute mess. You guys have come into a society that is broken post-Soviet, trying desperately to find itself and to gather itself together. And all that you're doing is creating division after division after division. And you are bringing into our society an immorality that we don't understand. We do not understand why you, as these Christian churches that supposedly know everything, we're just the idiots, us Orthodox people. What would we know about God? A 2,000-year tradition. Your tradition is 1,000 years or 500 years if it's Protestant. Our 2,000-year tradition, we're clueless. You are geniuses, every one of you professors. No, enough of this. We don't understand this gay marriage thing. We don't understand endorsing sodomy. We don't understand women preachers because it says so in black and white in your Bible and in our Bible that it is not to be done. So what they're referring to here is Hillary Clinton saying to the churches, hey, listen, we'll get you back into the post-Soviet play. We'll get you back into Russia, Belarus, Ukraine. You can wreak absolute havoc there. You can destroy everything as you have done in the West by endorsing all of this evil. FBI Director James Comey testified to the committee that in August 2016, the SVR had Democratic National Committee emails. So the head of the FBI is telling the Democratic National Committee, hey, the Russians have got emails of yours in which you are telling other people, you, the Democratic National Committee, are telling other people that the Attorney General is working on a named member of the Clinton campaign informing that the FBI was doing Clinton email investigation. In other words, that's a very messy, muddy sentence, and I'm sure it just is going to bewilder people. But the point is that the head of the FBI is saying, hey, listen, the Russians know that you are meddling in FBI work regarding Hillary Clinton, that you basically using us to protect her. It's not the secret that you think it is. The SVR had also information that the DNC leadership and Clinton's foreign policy advisors had heard, so it's leaked back to the USA, that US allies in London, Berlin, Paris, and Rome were not optimistic about a Clinton presidency. They had expressed expressed notes of doubt regarding her ability to perform the functions of head of state, and her election would create, it goes on. So it would create ructions or problems or whatever, if she became president. The subsequent election of Donald Trump was as big a surprise in Moscow as it was in Washington, D.C., based on embassy and media reporting. Back in the US, media pundits struggled to explain how the American voters had chosen an upstart political outsider over a veteran establishment politician which she was not, by the way. She was not a politician until her husband became president, and then he wangled her into all sorts of things. She became a senator and then Secretary of State after 35-year career doing a different job altogether. The House Intelligence Committee receives the first post-election classified briefing on Putin's campaign. The FBI's Director of Counterintelligence and the DNI's, so that's the Department of National Intelligence, that's the umbrella body for the 16 intelligence agencies in the USA. The DNI's National Intelligence Officer for Russia led a classified briefing that described Putin's leak operation, but made no mention of Putin aspiring to elect Trump. So they're saying Putin is leaking stuff. He wants to interfere in the elections, but they don't go so far as to say he wants to interfere in the elections. So there's a part that's implied, or read it however you like, but Putin's in the mix here. Obama then, on the 6th of December, so this is a month after Donald Trump wins the elections. He won on the 8th of November, I believe, Tuesday the 8th of November, if I recall correctly, in 2016. Obama orders a rewrite of intelligence community assessments. So that's the 16 intelligence agencies of the USA plus the umbrella body of which Tulsi Gabbard is now the head. The president directed the intelligence community to review their work to date on the Russian influence campaign. So we've just heard them say that, yeah, there've been leaks, Putin, whatever. But he's not trying to interfere, and quickly produce the new ICA, Intelligence Community Assessment, for release in early January, before President-elect Trump took office. The ICA would rehash much of the previously published material on Russian activities, but would also include the judgment, not a fact, a judgment, that President Putin aspired for Trump to win. CIA would be the lead drafter of that revised intelligence community assessment, in coordination with the FBI, which is not a police force, contrary to many non-Americans believe. 5 CIA analysts wrote the ICA, presenting a draft to the director of the Central Intelligence Agency by the 22nd of December. The authors were later surprised that senior management made few changes to the draft. So the point being there, that the authors published such a preposterously false intelligence revised at Obama's instruction to reach a different conclusion than they had previously reached. It's such a preposterous conclusion that they were surprised that nobody came back to them and said, listen, this is ridiculous. You've gone much too far. Nobody's going to believe this nonsense.
Yeah.
Can you believe it, Marius Greyling? Now we have it in black and white. I'm not pro-Republican. I detest both parties equally, and I believe that all human beings should detest both parties equally, and you are being tricked if you don't. That's personal. But my point being that I don't have a Republican bias. Whether you do, that's your own business. But my point being just the revelation that it was bulldust all along, an absolute confection, a cake, a beautiful cake in the display counter of a confectionery in the high street of some capital city somewhere in the world, but it's all sugar and white flour with chocolate sprinkled in between. Yeah. Nothing of nutritional substance. It was entirely made up. Anyway, that's my story. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible that we somebody said to me recently, sorry, Marius, that I'm not shutting up. I'll shut up in a second. He said to me that they get the feeling that we are now in the age of, and ye shall know the truth, and it shall make ye free. That there's a lot of stuff that's beginning to come out, and long may it continue. Yeah. Can you believe for 10 years they persecuted that guy who I don't like? I dislike him very much. For 10 years they persecuted that guy on the basis of an absolute fiction. made up by Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, and then obviously their lackeys.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it seems if you just look at the medical side of things with Hillary Clinton, she was supposed to be the Biden, and they had to wait 4 years to get a Biden person in. I mean, we all know that Biden is the most healthy person out there, and it sounded like me that Hillary Clinton was supposed to be that person already for them, that they can manipulate the way they want to. But obviously Trump won, and they had to wait 4 years to get Biden in. But yeah, that's just my conclusion on the medical side of what you have just said, that she is definitely not well. Okay, then USA deploys nukes in the UK, Simon.
I'm sure we don't have much time left, Marius. We do try to limit these to 35 or 45, between 35 and 40 minutes, so I'll be brief. Marius, it's really a symbolic thing. I'm not going to go into terribly much detail, facts, figures, data, and statistics. I'm just going to keep it simple. The United States of America has shipped somewhere between 1 and 8. It's probably 8. 1 is a meaningless number if you're going to do it at all. Do it properly, but nobody's dead certain. So let's say, for the sake of argument, that it is 8 nuclear bombs, not missiles or anything like that. Bombs to be dropped by airplane, as we understand it, to United Kingdom soil, to British soil. Those bombs and others were removed, taken back to the USA after the Cold War. They were placed there during the Cold War, and they remained there for some time after the end of the Cold War. Nevertheless, in 2008, and Marius, I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill. I don't want to be a false doom prophet. I'll gladly be a doom prophet any day of the week if it's the truth. I don't want to sow panic, but I put it to you that this is symbolic of, or symptomatic of, the times in which we live. There's a lot of very, very deadly stuff going on in the world that promises to expand, or certainly possesses the potential to expand into serious conflagration across much of the globe. And here we have the Americans beginning to ship nuclear material back to the United Kingdom. And just for those viewers who are unfamiliar, it's not that the UK doesn't have material of its own. It has the Trident, the submarines with multiple large nuclear missiles with multiple warheads. Each of those warheads, in some cases, 100 times more powerful than the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So of inestimable destructive power.
Yeah.
They have their own, but it means something nevertheless that the Americans now, at this time, in this tumultuous time in history, are seeing fit to deposit some of their own nuclear weapons back on British soil.
Sure.
Dark times indeed, Marius.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's allowed to have one except Iran and a couple of other countries.
Yeah. I think we're going to see developments too. I'm positive that those guys are going to start working on them very, very soon. They can't at the moment, apparently. The Foreign Minister, Roche, gave an interview, today's Thursday, I believe on Monday, or it might have been over the weekend, in which he said, look, at the moment, honestly, that we have suffered enough damage, not the damage that the Americans claim, but enough damage that we can't work on that stuff right at the moment. But within a few weeks, we will be able to, and we are going to do so. So,
yeah, the pause might be over in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Anyway, Marius, that's it from me.
Thanks,
all of the
Simon.
best to you guys in South Africa, and see you soon.
Yeah. Can't wait for you to be back. Well, it will be a bit sad not having your eyes and ears and living through you while you were in Russia, but we've also missed you obviously here in South Africa. So safe travels. Have a great dinner tonight or supper. Have a great supper tonight. Finally, not black bread and sardines for you, but something a bit more substantial. And yeah, have a good one.
Yeah, thanks very much, Marius. But just to be clear, not to stay on the line for too long, I have been spoiled rotten. So I saved money by eating sparingly and what have you, but let nobody think that I've suffered over the past couple of months. Mikhail and Yevgenia and others have treated me to some very, very fine meals. I picked up about 5 kilograms in under 2 weeks in Donetsk with Mikhail Glebov. He spoiled me rotten night after night after night. Nevertheless, it is going to be fantastic to eat like a king after generally a long tour of trying not to blow money on food.
Okay. Cheers, Simon. Have a good one.
Cheers, Marius. Bye bye.